So what did you think? Let's rank this film on the Cageometer.
All right, that leads us over to the most important question that we ask on this show. Vince, where does The Boy in Blue from 1986 rate on your Cageometer?
Oh, man. I feel like this movie deserves a 6. It's not awful. It's not great. It's boring. A lot of the time it is boring. But I think, like you said, I think it's because we just watched Between Worlds, it helps kind of boost this up a little bit because at least it was a coherent story. Yeah, it had plot holes and there was a lot that could have been done better, but at least it told a fucking story from beginning to end that you were able to understand and track.
I think that's our threshold now.
Yes.
Is it coherent?
Yeah. I mean that helps, right? So I feel like the movie's a 6. I think there was good acting in it from some of the more seasoned folks. Yeah, I mean it was shot really well. I thought it was shot really well. I liked the way that looked. The music, I like the music. I don't like how they used the music. In the sense that, like we said throughout the breakout, there were times where you couldn't hear anything because the music was so fucking loud. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so 6 for the movie. As far as Cage, probably give him the same. Give him a 6. I think young Cage, he's up and down. I mean, you could argue that throughout his whole career, right? Sometimes he makes good decisions, bad decisions. But for being young, I definitely felt like comparing this to his other films around this time, I feel like he was more grounded and there was a kind of charm about him that you don't always get in his earlier career. I felt like he was able to deliver emotionally, unlike Birdy. I felt like he was able to actually deliver. Well, he was able to deliver emotionally when he was a young kid in Birdy, not so much as the older guy, right? But I felt like there was some more emotional weight in deliverance in this film. Goofy, funny moments, especially when he's at the parade or at the fair and he's running around like a freaking 5-year-old seeing an elephant for the first time.
No, you've seen a real Indian from the plains for the first time.
I guess, and then you also get him a lot of credit. I mean, he got ripped for this movie, and I'm guessing he was rowing quite a bit, which damn good for him because rowing is one of the most cardio intensive exercises you could do. And to be out there and do that, especially as a young guy, give him a lot of credit for that. So 6 for the movie, 6 for Cage. Never want to watch this one again if I don't have to, only just because it's boring.
All right, Nigel, where does The Boy in Blue rate on your Cageometer?
I think if we got a sequel about Ned running a hotel, there'd be a lot more potential for an interesting story because this movie was just boring as shit. Like, gives a fuck about sculling. Why does it have to be a movie about rowing? It's so boring. This was a hard one to get through. And it's shot pretty well. They used a lot of costumes. Design was really great. Definitely felt like it was of the period of the 1876, aside from the fact that they used that boat from 10 years later. Just kidding. I doubt steamboat technology looked that much different.
Probably not.
Between 1880 and whatever and 1879. This was a lower one for me. It's a 4 because it was just boring. It was just
don't watch The Boys in the Boat then about the UW rowing team.
Why would I? I already watched The Boy in Blue. I don't need to watch another boys one. Yeah, it's.
Can I jack off to The Boys in the Boat? I don't think so.
It felt like Nick Cage at his most made for TV movie. Like, it was just like, I don't know. The music was of that. It felt very Little House on the Prairie. If you ever watched that show back in the day, it really reminded me of it. And the way it was shot and filmed and stuff. I just kind of felt cheap, which I guess it was, pretty inexpensive of a film to make. But it's just melodramatic, and there's the sappy love story stuck into it that you don't really need, but you have to in order to have some kind of human interest, I guess. It's very derivative of. It felt a lot like Firebirds, where that was derivative of Top Gun. This is derivative of something like Rocky, where it's not necessarily rag to riches, but rags to fame, I guess, of the outsider, dark horse coming in and being super great at some kind of sport. And then that typical story beat is almost predictable to the minute of when stuff is going to happen throughout the story, you know? So it's just I liked Firebirds more than this. I would just say like I said with Firebirds, just go watch Top Gun. Like, just go watch Rocky or some other, you know, inspirational stuff. And it's especially as a biopic too. Like it's very derivative of biopic beats. I'm not going to say that Ned Handley's story isn't one that shouldn't be told, but it's kind of one that most people don't know for a reason because it's kind of. It's just boring. Like, yeah, okay, best of the world in rowing. Sure. All right. I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh on it. This was a really hard movie for me to get through. Just so boring.
Yeah.
But yeah, Christopher Plummer's great. He's great in everything. That's not a surprise. Nick Cage was pretty good for a young actor. Especially like, what was this his first leading movie that we said?
I mean, Valley Girl was his first leading thing.
This was after that. So, but he was kind of in that same kind of the heartthrob role, but this is a little bit more serious than something like Valley Girl, I think, trying to be more dramatic and probably hard to go do a period piece in the 1800s if you're that young in your career. So, yeah, a movie for Cage. I'll say 6 as well, just because I think he did a pretty good job. I want to give him credit for the shape that he got into for it. It's very clear that he was doing a lot of that rowing. I don't think there was any shot that I noticed where I could be like, oh, it's a stunt guy. I felt like it was, even on the wide shots, it looked and felt like it was him doing it. Yeah. And he's obviously in shape to do it with those abs and that body. And so he worked his ass off to get, I think to showcase, he looked and felt like a guy who would be a champion rower. Yeah. And as far as his acting, it was pretty good. There were some over the top moments. I think we've talked about this before in like Birdy, where when he gets really emotional about stuff, when he's that early on in his career, it kind of comes across as sappy and a little bit overacted. But he swings for the fences for somebody who probably hasn't lived a lot of those experiences in his life at the time. So he's trying to act them. I think he does a pretty good job. And like I said, he felt like the character that he was playing. I think he felt like a champion rower in mid 18th century or 19th century Canada, I guess. Yeah. So I think a 6. He was a positive note in this movie. Yeah. I don't want to undersell his physical commitment to the role, which I think is very impressive.
Yeah.
Jokes aside. It looks like he really went all out to get into shape and to play that guy. So
yeah. All right. I think I'm just gonna split the difference, which is the rating that I had. It was a 5. Like, it's boring, predictable, over the top at points with the melodramatic, especially the music beats. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's forgettable. It's mid-tier. It's kind of, I don't really feel like it deserves to be completely forgotten like it has been. But at the same time, I understand why it hasn't really been talked about in all these years.
Aside from the fact that you can't really find it anywhere. But, I think that's also part of the reason. Like, nobody cares. Whoever owns the rights doesn't care. Like, they're not going to release. If it had been a critically acclaimed movie, maybe it would be easier. Or a better financial success, maybe. But
yeah, seems like we're running into that a lot with the 80s and 90s, where it's like films just kind of the rights have lapsed, so nobody has seen this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll ever show up on streaming. You said you looked, and it's not
I looked,
anywhere,
it's
right?
Nowhere. Yeah. Which is weird because it's not even like Time to Kill, where somebody had thrown it up on YouTube and no one owns rights, so no one cares to take it down. It's like no one's even bothered to upload it somewhere online to watch.
Yeah.
So maybe somebody does hold the rights to it. They just haven't ever released it because it costs money to do something like that, I guess.
Could be.
What's interesting is I do have a Blu-ray copy of the movie. So somebody at some point put it out on Blu-ray.
You'd think somebody would want it on streaming.
You'd think, yeah. It's Nick Cage, Christopher Plummer. So
you got fucking Arsenal on streaming places right now.
Well, hopefully that film gets forgotten.
Worlds.
Between
Worlds. Amazon has it between
It
Worlds
can't
on
be
Prime.
too expensive for someone to secure streaming rights for The Boy in Blue, and
Yeah, totally.
couldn't even get it on Hoopla like I could for Firebirds.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think the acting was pretty solid throughout. It's like Christopher Plummer is great, obviously. I forget the name of the girl who played Maggie, but I thought she did a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm.
I thought everybody was pretty solid. It was just kind of, predictable and boring. I guess that's really the main like sentiment of this film. Is just kind of meh. I don't know. I've
It
seen
definitely
this movie.
felt like a movie you'd watch in like high school in your history class or something.
Yeah. I mean, if you were in a rowing class in high school, I guess.
Yeah. Something
Yeah.
a
Get
substitute
inspired
teacher
by
would
this.
throw on to distract class for a couple of days.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what else there is to say about it. It's just kind of forgettable. I guess it's worth watching if you want to see Cage in his absolute prime and in the best shape of his life. Like you guys said, I'm also going to give him a 6 because like his commitment to the character is pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen, especially previous to this, like going from the best of times to this movie up to this point, Nick has been in great shape in every one of those films. But like, I think Birdy was like the first time that we saw him really commit to a physical transformation where he lost a bunch of weight and then had some of his teeth taken out for his later part of the role. And in this one, like he got into insane shape. And like you said, he's believable as this world champion. Like I don't think that there was ever a stunt double. Maybe when he was jumping into the water in certain points.
Yeah,
but like,
probably that, and then like hitting the boat. But even that, I'm pretty sure it was Cage in the boat when he rammed that guy.
So he was really doing all that rowing, and it's impressive. Like rowing is extremely difficult.
Oh yeah.
And I thought he was pretty good throughout the film. I got that charm. He was believable in that moment where he breaks down sobbing when they welcome him back in Canada. I didn't get the Wayne's World style acting, or like we talked about in Birdy at the end, where it was like and I never learned how to read that stuff. Which I felt heavily through Birdy, but I didn't feel that in this. Felt like he did a pretty good job. You can see him getting better, especially from that period of like the jump between Best of Times to Valley Girl was huge. The jump between Valley Girl and Birdy was huge. And I feel like the jump between Birdy and The Boy in Blue was pretty huge. So you can see him getting better, and you can see that it did take him some time to turn into the actor that he became, around the time that we saw him in Raising Arizona. And even Moonstruck was a little over the top still, but like, he was becoming the actor that he became. So overall, great performance, not one of his best, but, pretty solid. I think a 6 is, he's deserving of a 6 just for that physical transformation.